Our time was limited when we were visiting Dunluce Castle and when we got to explore the Giant's Causeway because we were trying to save time to come back to Derry and walk around the city because there's so much to see here, especially the walls that the city is famous for. We walked past a coffee shop and Pat had to stop and get some, of course. Oh, you can go on top. Pat's just getting a coffee. He went to get a coffee.
Oh.
Oh, and here's one of the churches. Or is that the guild place? Around the walled city there are several gates. You can drive through at these gates, and then there are also staircases where you can walk up on top of the wall, which gives you such a great view of the city. There are interpretive signs that give you some more information about the history of this area, and they even had some of the old cannons positioned up on top of the wall. That is the clock tower of the Guildhall, and that's the one that you can see from our hotel room. Such a great view. But we were trying to walk around Derry as quickly as we could before we lost the sunlight, but also because we had a scheduled activity tonight to go to Guildhall and meet the mayor, which at this time we were kind of confused about why exactly we were doing that, but it ended up being a very neat part of our trip. It was great to see all the Christmas decorations that were out on the street, but we had to keep moving. We really were racing against the light because the days are shorter now, so we were trying to fit as much in as we could before we lost the light. Even though we were rushing to fit this in, the timing was still nice because it was just sunset, so the light was very interesting. There were these beautifully colored clouds in the sky, and we figured out that the walled area is actually very walkable. We were not gone for too long, maybe about an hour, and we were kind of taking our time, stopping and looking at sights, so that's nice that this is a very accessible thing to do.
So the wall just goes all the way around.
All the way around, yeah.
You could walk the whole damn thing.
At least you get to see the city.
Yeah, different view.
Yeah, it saves you all that time walking through.
This is our first time being on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, and it's our first time in Ireland. So one of the things that I thought was so interesting was the amount of character and detail in the buildings. You know, everything on this side of the ocean is so much older than in the US. So the buildings have all of this detail and all of this character that you don't see as often when you're in the US.
Erected in 1628 by the Irish Society.
The walls were built between 1613 and 1618, and this is said to be one of the best examples of a walled city in Europe. As we made our way around to Bishopsgate, the views just kept getting better. The sunset was awesome, and we were kind of lifted up above the city more, so you could see for quite a while around you. It was also so nice to be able to explore the city without having to cross the street or navigate traffic at all. You were really just able to walk around and soak in the views. we did such a quick exploration of the city. There were quite a few things that I wish we had more time to visit, like this old church. But we were making our way back toward the hotel before it got dark, and we had one more spot that we wanted to make sure we got to see, and that was the Peace Bridge. So as it got dark, we made our way over toward the river. The Peace Bridge is a pedestrian bridge that goes across the River Foyle. It was opened in June of 2011, and it was quite busy on this night. There were a lot of locals using it to get from one side of the river to the other, and a lot of tourists taking pictures. The bridge itself has two main columns, and those columns are said to be symbolic of uniting the two different groups of people who were previously in conflict.
Get out the dirt.
Oh yeah. The location of our hotel was perfect because it was very close walking distance to the Peace Bridge and to the walled part of the city and all of the main areas that you want to see. So we took a walk across to the other side of the bridge, but then we headed back because we were on our way to the Guildhall. We weren't sure what was actually going on that night, but we knew that we were going to meet the mayor. From the outside, Guildhall looks like a cathedral, but this is actually where the city council meets, and the building has a lot of history. Downstairs, there's a museum. We weren't allowed to film in the museum part, but then we went upstairs to the large hall, and we were given some wine, and it was just like a nice little meet and greet. And we got to hear from one of the city workers about the history of this building. And this building has been through so many different things, fires. It was bombed several times during the Troubles. So a lot of it has been reconstructed, but the building is still quite amazing. And one of the neatest things in this particular room is the organ. The organ in Guildhall was installed in 1914, and it consists of 3,132 pipes. So this is an impressive organ, and they asked us if anyone wanted to try playing it. And there was one person in our group who knew how to play piano, and he wanted to give it a try. So we were excited to actually hear what the organ sounds like. This is great.
Dennis can play the piano, he said. Oh, really?
That's pretty cool, Dennis.
I'm so glad somebody was brave enough to try to play this giant pipe organ, and I would say that was pretty good for somebody who's never played such a complex instrument. Then we got to actually meet the mayor of Derry, and this was more fun than we expected. I think this whole night was kind of a nice little surprise of the trip. But then we were heading back to the hotel because this incredible travel day was not over yet. We had been to Dunluce Castle and the Giant's Causeway. We walked around the walled city. We got to meet the mayor at Guildhall, and now we were going back to have a great dinner at City Hotel.
The Titanic?
But thank you, sir. Thank you.
It was a full day.
It was, yeah.
We did a lot today.
Yeah.
After a busy travel day, we were ready for our first Guinness of the trip.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. I got a Guinness mustache. It is better, Pat. It is better than at home.
Right?
It's a little lighter, I think.
It's not as heavy as like everyone says. It's like a heavy beer, but I don't think it's heavy. It's just dark. That's all.
Yeah.
You know.
That scares you away sometimes.
Yeah. It's not syrup. It's pretty light.
I'm not usually much of a beer drinker, but I figured when in Ireland, you kind of have to. I think it does taste better here.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at my beer.
We ended off this amazing travel day with one of my favorite meals that we had in Ireland. Leek soup and salad. Patrick had the chicken. I had the fish pie, and then a sampler with 3 different types of dessert. So a great ending to one of the best travel days ever. We still have a lot to share from Ireland, so we will see you in the next one.
Well, you worried about you and me, the injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air, and 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again, and no time flies. We have enough to realize this bigger than the both of us.